This is Reave. And this is a bad situation, especially because if I die, I will lose everything I'm carrying. I was lucky enough to get into the alpha stage playtest for Reave, which is an upcoming dungeon crawling extraction game where you have 20 minutes to navigate your way through a dungeon full of traps, skeletons, and deadly spiders, looting as many treasures, weapons, armor, and potions you can carry, and then trying to get an exfil pedestal before the time runs out or an enemy kills you and you lose it all, including the gear you walked in with. Reave is the next VR project that will be coming to PC VR and Quest standalone from the studio Alta, who you may know from A Township Tale, which is a game I've spent hundreds of hours on. So when I heard about the project that was codenamed simply Project 2, I tried to find a way to get a sneak peek, and of course I wanted to show my viewers some of the action. Alta finally released the official name of Project 2 on the VR showcase last month with a very brief announcement video and some footage, but it only made me more curious, and last weekend I finally got into the alpha playtest. All of the footage I'm showing here is from Quest 3 standalone. As a game in alpha stage, Reave obviously doesn't have all of the polish and shine of an early access title yet, so keep that in mind as you watch this footage. A lot of the armor and structures don't even have textures yet, and are just solid colored meshes in the current stage. Some of the icons that tell you what is in a chest or inventory look like a quick sketch or generic symbol. There's no animation for opening a chest or door yet, and there are other small things that will constantly remind you that you are in a game that is still a sort of early work in progress. But that isn't what caught my attention at all. Instead, I was more focused on the quality of what is here. Torches have beautiful fire animations, and the movement on the flame when you wave it around is very responsive and convincing. Each finger on your hand has its own individual collision, and I found myself just wanting to touch things to see how my fingers would behave at times. I have yet to clip through any of the walls or ground areas. Ladders work very well, and I haven't had any problem pulling myself up to the higher ground after climbing a ladder. It feels like the base mechanics of this game are all working great. In fact, they are working much better than I expected they would going into this game. Reave only has one character model in this playtest, but some of the players said there were customization options in a prior playtest. I even saw one guy with a white untextured beard that had carried over from his previous build. The character model that is here though shows the character's style that they seem to be going for, and it is much nicer than I expected, definitely much more detailed than the characters were in A Township Tale. Before going into a dungeon, you will want to make sure that your bag is empty so that you can loot, except for maybe a few tools like potions, crossbow bolts, food, bombs, traps, etc. You want to choose what gear you are going to bring in because if you are under-geared, you might die, but at the same time, you are risking losing anything you bring in with you if you do die. There are padded, leather, chain, and metal armor sets. There are robes, which I assume will be used by classes that aren't currently in the game because I don't really see a use for them right now. There are short swords, long swords, shields, torches, crossbows, and daggers in this playtest. You can wear armor for your feet, legs, chest, hands, and head. There are also slots for rings and a necklace, but I have yet to find any. I believe I started with a ring, but the flavor text said it didn't do anything. I like to use a short sword and a shield, but that leaves me torchless, and a lot of the dungeon gets very dark to where you can't see anything without a torch. Luckily, the enemies do have glowing eyes, but be careful because other players don't. Also, there are bear traps that you can lay for unsuspecting enemies, whether they are players or NPCs, and there are pressure plate traps throughout the dungeon as well. You can form a group with friends, try to group up with other adventurers in the lobby area, or you could just go in solo. While going in solo can be dangerous as many of the areas are full of enemies and it is easy to get surrounded, but if you choose to go in with other players, they may turn on you and take your vessel and steal your gear. Once inside the dungeon, which is called the Last Bastion, the gameplay loop is very simple but addictive as hell. You will start at a random spawn point and need to kill enemies to take their echoes, which you store in a round stone orb called the vessel. Echoes are like the essence of the enemies. You can use this essence to open gates that give you access to treasure or the area where the boss is. If you make it into the boss area, there are lots of treasure chests and enemies, but to summon the boss you need to spend 60 echoes to summon her. The only current boss in the game right now is a giant spider with lots of health, who also summons little spiders while you fight her. If you succeed in defeating her, she will spawn 3 chests that seem to have a higher chance of dropping very good loot. Loot can be common, which is gray, uncommon, which is green, rare, which is blue, epic is purple, and legendary is yellow. I've only looted one legendary item so far, and it was a padded chest armor, which I really had no use for. However, even after beating the boss, if you choose to, you will need to find an exfil pedestal and spend 180 echoes in order to use it before the timer runs out and you die. The pedestals are also single use, so each player, whether they're in a party or not, needs to find their own exfil pedestal and have their own 180 echoes in order to escape with their loot, which only further incentivizes turning on your party so that you don't get left behind, unable to extract, and left to die. Right now there are only a few types of enemies. There are a variety of skeletons, some are unarmed and just lunge at you, some are armed with bows and will shoot at you or use an attack that pins you in place. Some carry swords that are a little larger than the unarmed ones, and then there are the bruisers, which carry a large club. They have more health than the other skeletons, and they have a ground smash attack that projects forward on the ground, knocking back enemies in its path. There are also 2 types of spiders. The main spiders usually are found in groups around a nest of eggs. They don't award echoes when killed, but destroying the nest will award echoes. They seem to spawn from the nest, but I don't think I have specifically seen one spawn, at least not that I've noticed. Then there is the spider boss, who is much larger, has a lot of health, and does a lot more damage. And she also spawns the smaller spiders both when she spawns and as you battle her. Once you have extracted, there are merchants you can sell your unwanted loot to and buy gear from. Most of the gear they sell is pretty basic, but there is one merchant who is only unlocked by completing all 5 of the quests, who sells some really high-end armor. This little hut is where you keep your stash, equip your gear, and can see what you look like. Obviously, a lot of the gear doesn't have textures yet, so it's just kind of a white shape that will be textured in the future. I hope I'll be able to stay on and continue playtesting Reave, and reporting back to you guys as the game progresses. If this is a game you are interested in, subscribe and turn on notifications so that you will know when new videos come out. Let me know in the comments if this is a game you're looking forward to like I am, and if you have cool suggestions for the game, why not drop those in the comments too, and I'll relay that feedback to the devs for you. Thank you guys for watching, and game on.